Well, hello, that's me again. It's August 23, it's Tuesday, and headlines again today. It's inevitable. We live in the information-driven world, and obviously to do something about teaching people and helping them to create an appropriate picture of the world surrounding them, obviously you need to address yourself and refer yourself to mass media. And let's start from obvious tragedy of Alexander Dugin and the murder of his daughter. And I'm not going to be showing you any headlines, but believe me, the Russian media are really filled with reporting on that, and it is already well known that actually who killed her, that this ugly woman from Azov battalion and her daughter, 12-year-old girl. And now it is clear that Estonia was directly involved, and Maria Zakharova obviously yesterday was very specific about the fact that European Union is getting involved directly in the terrorist activity on Russian territory. So, and let's go immediately after that to things which are really important, and they are not being reported obviously in the Western media, because obviously they don't report what really matters. They are doing this on purpose for propaganda reasons, and of course just because they're stupid. Most of them are, and pardon me, but 99% of the Western so-called journalism are ignorant, uneducated people, and well, many of them are downright morons. But here is, we'll start with this. This is very important, and this is yesterday, and when we were talking yesterday between me, Larry, and Duran guys, I mentioned this. This is yesterday by none other than Mr. Patrushev, who is, of course, the Secretary of the Security Council of Russia, and extremely powerful man, who states that the default of the United States on the foreign debt is inevitable now. And when Mr. Patrushev says things like that, it is really, everybody better start listening, because it is extremely important, and he is not the kind of guy who goes out there and like American or Western diplomats and administration people and government bureaucracy love to shake the air with all those nonsensical statements. When he says it, that means it's coming. And we know that it is coming. He also warned those stupid people who still keep their currency reserves in Western banks that they will be stolen. And they will be. It goes without saying. But let's kind of get closer to the issue which I'm constantly speak about. And this is about this what is called the Composite Index of National Capability, and it relates to the issue of the what nowadays was introduced by this London military think tank, that industrial warfare. Let me put it to rest immediately, the same as Mark Galeotti's bullshit, which he actually admitted himself about Gerasimov doctrine. There never was Gerasimov doctrine, he just made it up. The same as Rusi, RUSI, whatever this military think tank, you can look it up, is the fact that real warfare is always industrial. Real war between the actors such as states or coalitions of the states, it is based only on industrial capacity, on the ability to produce top-notch weaponry and constantly replenish it. So when people say that, oh yeah, return of the industrial warfare, hello, here's the news. It never went away. It always was there. So the fact that Pentagon now and those creeps from Washington Post or New York Times or what have you, beginning to discover to themselves that, oh my gosh, it's all about the massive production of the weapons and ammunition. Well, too bad, guys. It's your problem that you are dumb and that you just decided to, waste your time on studying all kind of crap which is absolutely useless. But let's start after Mr. Patrushev what he stated yesterday, and look what we have immediately. Immediately there are things which come to the attention, and we'll start with this. For starters, as you know, Russia is so isolated that it's just about to collapse economically, and everything's so bad that emerging markets rush to join BRICS alliance as high energy prices persist. Well, we've been through this so many times, and there is no necessity to really dwell on that, the civilization is energy. Energy is civilization. It's the two sides of the same coin. You either have the energy and you can build real civilization, or you don't, and then you know what? Go screw yourself. I'm sorry. This is the cold, hard fact of our existence. And you want internet, you want to fly from A to B in 5 hours instead of driving it for 3 days on the train. You want X-rays, you want your MRI machines, you want the new antibiotics or new medicine. I'm sorry, guys, you need to have energy, a lot of it. But evidently, European Union, which is led by basically imbeciles, and here's one of them who today, he wants to send more arms to Ukraine. And sure, Germany can do whatever it wants to do. Russians don't care. And again, all those things about Russians having, you know, this bromance with Germany, they are all gone. It's all bullshit now. And if Mr. Scholz thinks that he can influence the outcome of the war in Ukraine, well, I mean, he has to really take a red pill or whatever the color of the pill was in Matrix and wake up to the reality, because his country economically becomes a pipsqueak and Germany is being annihilated economically under his guidance. And the guy, Mr. Scholz, is very uneducated man. He is has degree in law, and all his life what he did was, you know, hanging around the political forces which shape German reality. And plus, he is a classic, you know, German American stooge, and he will kill himself and his country just because he was told so. So here it is. So he wants to continue to supply weapons to Ukraine, and Russians say, sure, yeah, let him do it, you know. But of course, immediately after that, you have to understand that what we get immediately from that is, how to put it politely, it's really doesn't even, I cannot even I don't know how to discuss it and how to really present it other than just being very specific. And again, I'm taking it deliberately from the oilprice.com because it's a very neoconish, very pro-Western and anti-Russian site. But even when they begin to post this and publish this, that tells you that, hey, they cannot lie anymore. And here it is. Europe gas price is now equivalent to $410 per barrel of oil. And I believe Europe is only starting and warming up for that, because who knows, we might see another, I don't know, 5-6-fold growth of the oil prices. For Europeans, that means that at some point of time, Europeans will not need cars because they will not be able to afford to drive them. And Germany is obviously one of the first candidates for that, which obviously automatically means that Germany's auto industry, which is already in a very rough shape, it produces primarily, not all of it, but primarily overpriced, over-engineered cars, which are grossly overrated. So here it is. And if you did know that, and if you think, for example, that I'm just being overly dramatic here, here's the other news, from basically yesterday, and here they are. Aluminum smelters shutter operation in Europe as power prices soar. And while in Europe it's $410 equivalent, $410 equivalent for the barrel of oil, which is being traded now, we know that at this stage, my latest update was something like $3,000 per 1,000 cubic meters of gas. But as Mr. Novak, and again I constantly stress, Mr. Novak is one of the most powerful men in the world, because he single-handedly can actually crash or raise the energy market. He is a minister of the energy of Russian Federation, and he stated that actually, yeah, come autumn we will look at $4,000+ per 1,000 cubic meters of gas, natural gas, and probably higher than that. Some people say it's going to be 6,000, which means basically that European economy will cease to exist. And those people who think that they can get the energy or electricity from the wall socket, this is basically how the most European elite thinks about it, because none of them have a real serious engineering education. Then they have to call Greta Thunberg and ask her how to provide proper energy supply for what is already collapsing European economy. And as you can see yourself, aluminum and zinc and those metals are absolutely crucial in production of pretty much, well, how to put it politely, everything from the aircraft, be that combat aircraft or commercial aircraft, because there are no 100% composite material aircraft today, and pretty much anything, cars, what have you. And yes, they continue to shut their operations because obviously they cannot afford to run those operations. And again, this is just the warm up. Things will get much more interesting coming, come autumn. And if Mr. Scholz or other European countries want to continue to prepare and allow terrorist and diversionary activity against Russia, and continue to send weapons to Ukraine to kill more Russian, primarily civilians, I'm talking about Russian people, then sure, but don't expect that they will be treated, as peaceful and friendly country. Germany is not a friendly country. It's very well now established fact that Germany is the enemy of Russia. And as I already stated, well, many people in my comments to my videos, they say, oh, but I always like Russian culture and everything. Doesn't matter. That's the problem, and it's a tragedy, make no mistake, it is a tragedy. There are many decent people in Europe. I'm not painting everything with a broad brush, but truth is, majority of Europeans, they hate Russian gods. How large is this majority? I don't know. 60%, 65%, I don't know. Nobody really will do the appropriate statistical study of that, except maybe for some Russian, statistical think tanks. But primarily, it's an established fact. And again, when people say, "Oh, I didn't vote for this or that," we didn't vote for Macron or we didn't vote for Scholz. But I'm sorry, that's the problem. I mean, if you remember who have been before that, you'll get the same type of people who absolutely just, they are America and NATO stooges, and they continue to express on many, important issues, especially on the foreign policy issues, their traditional hatred of Russia in Europe. So, and this is what it is. And yes, they will continue to send whatever they have, not that it's impressive militarily, but they will continue to send it to Ukraine until Ukraine still survives. And Russians make their own conclusions. They think about it and say, yeah, why should we treat those people as honest or honorable people? They are not, and there you go. And that's the aluminum and zinc and all kinds of other manufacturing is being shut down, while in the same time you have this, which is of course China boosts Russian energy imports, and it's Bloomberg, and that it's allegedly from March, which is what we have 8 hours. In 5 months, Beijing already spent 35 billion on Russian crude, oil products, gas, and coal, and it's gonna grow only. And as many people do not understand when they say, oh, Russians sell the oil to China for a great discount. True, Absolutely true. Russia sells the, oil to China, for example, or to India, who increased 50-fold its purchases of Russian oil. We're looking at up to 35, usually $30 discount. But if you look at today's prices of Brent, to which Urals, the Russian brand of oil, is tied to. So you have around what, $99 today. So subtract $30 from 99, you have $69. And remember that Russian state budget is based around $40-45 per barrel, and actual costs of Russia pumping and producing oil is around $10 to $15 per barrel. So even selling for $69, Russia makes a killing, and I mean absolute killing. And that is why I already stated a few days ago that we're looking at around $335 billion Russia pocketing just from sale of oil and gas this year, which is a horrendous, tremendous sum of money, and you can see it yourself. So, but let's go back now to a little bit this beaten to death. I don't even know how to really say it with a straight face that oh yeah, about this Ukrainian counteroffensive around Kherson. Well, there is a counteroffensive now, make no mistake. And Mr. Konashenko, for example, today is pretty happy when reporting this. He's usually very straightforward, tight. But, I mean, Russian forces and Russian army units begin to roll back to the front line after being very well rested. And evidently, Russian forces started to move towards Nikolaev, and already are in Nikolaev Oblast now, and continue to annihilate whatever Ukraine throws there as a cannon fodder, because obviously armed forces of Ukraine are in no shape to basically counter anything. And this counter-offensive, offensive, of which primarily Western media were talking about for so many weeks now, and which eventually have been debunked by none other than Arestovich and actually Kiev regime itself, is very simple. People in Washington Post, and as I already stated, there are no decent people and decent professionals left in the journal field in the United States, because primarily they are propagandists and people who lie for living. And of course, none of them have serious military experts there. And I cannot call any more people like General King or Petraeus experts, because basically they provided for the last half a year a complete sophomoric bullshit, which is really, they should really feel shame, if they have any kind of professional and human integrity left in them for what they were spreading and spewing. But here it is. Washington Post again still hopes, and we know hope springs eternal, that use could be preparing Ukrainians for closer combat. Washington Post. The Pentagon's latest weapons package to Kyiv may indicate a looming counteroffensive, the newspaper suggests. And the reason they suggest that is because there are some like 40 bomb resistance vehicles, MRAP, and missile launchers with shorter ranges. Okay, let me explain what it is. All those bomb-proven or defended vehicles are nothing more than probably anti-mine defended vehicles, which are no contest for any kind of the anti-tank weapons, modern weapons which Russia uses, be it Vikhr, or be it Hermes, or be it this wonderful Izdelia 305 missile, because those vehicles are still less defended than, for example, any kind of the NATO main battle tank. But all those modern NATO main battle tanks, even including the fact that they basically equipped with the dynamic defense, which supposedly can repel their ATGMs, anti-tank guided missiles, even that cannot stand the chance against the latest anti-tank weapons. And that's what they're trying to instill, so to speak, in very amateurish, basically, brains and minds of lay people that, oh yeah, there's some vehicles, 40 vehicles, okay. It's about probably half an hour walk for Russian helicopter forces. If you look at about, I don't know, 8, 10 helicopters of the Mi-35 or Kamov 52 class, yeah, that's about 30 minutes maybe, so maybe less, and that will be it. So how they want to conduct their counter-offensive, quote-unquote, with 40 those vehicles, I don't know. But for people who still do not want to recognize what kind of crap is being spewed in the Western media, let me remind you this thing again. Remember this? Okay, here's how battalion, or motor rifle battalion, is in the offense. If to imagine that Ukraine can muster somehow couple of brigades to really, mount some kind of the counter-offensive, which will be not counter-offensive, it will be counter-attack, really, because it doesn't qualify as offensive, then you will see yourself that if you stick some brigade, let's imagine that they can muster the 10 battalion brigade, let's say, which is, of course, they cannot because they don't have any more forces to even for single fully armed and manned brigade. But let's say this. They have to go, for example, in the case of Kherson, ooze, as I already stated, out of the Nikolaev, and go from their marching columns into this, battalion type offense. What do? They have to spread themselves, as you can see yourself. If you have, let's say, 4 battalion front, it will be about 8 kilometers wide, and about, if you look like 5, 7, maybe 8 kilometers in depth. And this, that's the formation they will need to present and start going against Russian forces in Kherson area, in the area which is in the length, in the depth of 56 kilometers, and it's all steppes or fields. That means they will have to roll out all those forces if they have it. They don't have them, but if. Into this open, it's Turkish shoot, guys. And especially it's Turkey should shoot against the country which, like Russia, which has this modern intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance system, which is built from the space down to earth. And essentially, Russian forces know their movements in the real time. So how do you think, how long do you think it will take for their information and targeting to be developed about this counteroffensive? I would say 10 minutes. And with the velocity of about, I believe the battalion of this nature, what is modern today to say, battalion tactical group, it moves with the speed of about 20 to probably 30 kilometers an hour. So yeah, it will be done pretty fast, because artillery and things of this nature, and as I already stated, Russians can bring to the front, and they actually not can bring it, they have at the front the quality and quantity of firepower of such, volume, if you wish, that basically nothing will survive even initial attempt on the attack, no matter how they will be throwing their forces after that. But again, you need to explain it to the Washington Post, the New York Times, and their so-called military experts. And truth is, again, as already stated, there is an offensive now there, but again, it's conducted by the Russian forces, and you can only make, and come to the conclusion that Russia will continue its drive towards Nikolaev, which will be, could be even bypassed, I don't know, but it's going to be taken sooner or later, and then Odessa, and that will complete their any kind of communications of Ukraine with the Black Sea, and whatever the rump will be left, will be left from Ukraine, it will be completely landlocked. And considering the fact that Europe is facing yeah, let's put it this way. It's facing a very rough times, and they will be reminiscent of the immediate post-World War II. Basically, they will have the feel to it, and many people, and even the obviously pro-Western and anti-Russian economic orgs, they say that, yeah, it's the worst since the World War II. So it's just the start. It's just the warm-up. And in order for you to really understand what is going on, while I am always on a record speaking about the United States still having much better chances than Europe, which they still do, look at this again and just think about it. Here it is. U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve falls to 35-year-old. And look at this. The United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve now has only 453 million barrels in its inventory, following another significant drop in the past week that puts the emergency reserve at low not seen in 3.5 decades. Reuters report. You know why it is? It's to keep the prices on the of the gas at the pump more or less acceptable after the initial shock of prices above $5, and it's going back above $5 and maybe even higher. But this was all done in the view of the upcoming midterm elections and Democratic National Committee and Democratic Party, for all my disdain towards GOP. But Democrats, they are ready to go to any lengths, and they will sacrifice American economy, which they are doing already, just to have a chance and shot out at basically midterm elections. And of course, there's another larger problem is looming for them. It's the possibility of Mr. Trump running again. Yeah, whatever. I'm not impressed by Mr. Trump, but he is lesser of two evils, basically. And that's the basically wrap up for today. This is what I wanted to tell you about today. And as always, I want to express my profound gratitude to my wonderful patrons, and encourage you to subscribe to my channel, and those who can afford, support me on the Patreon. And that is it for today, guys. This is, so to speak, the primer for this week, and I'll be talking to you later. Bye bye.